Welcome, everyone. This is Glenda Dawson, and I have LD here with me, and you're watching Glenda's Dragon's Den. We are coming to you live on the Conscious Awakening Network on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV, and other streaming platforms, including YouTube and Facebook. So tonight we have a special guest. He is one of my senses, one of my mentors. And I'm just going to introduce you to him. Sensei Joe, welcome. How are you today?
I'm doing good, Glenda. Good to see you again. Good to see you, Larry. How are you doing today?
Good. Thank you. Good to be seen.
So tell our audience all about you, because you have
Well,
very interesting life stories.
I'm mostly known as the founder of Right Hand Path Reiki. And what that is simply is we perform Reiki with only the right hand. And that came about through a discovery that I had where I learned that when we practice Reiki, uh, transferring energy to a client or anyone with both hands, we create what's called a closed circuit. And usually someone that is looking for Reiki, whether it's balancing chakras or for some other spiritual reason, they may contain what's called dark chi or dark ki. And if we put two hands on someone while we're channeling energy, we that closed circuit, we can sometimes act as a filter for that dark chi, where that dark chi can cause us harm or even cause harm to the client if we've been doing, say, Reiki on somebody else prior to them, and we collected dark chi from that person, and now we're transferring that dark chi into somebody else. And so right hand path Reiki eliminates that safety hazard, and in my experience has been proven to be more effective method of transferring energy and a lot safer of performing a Reiki session on someone.
Mm-hmm. So tell us about the time when you were growing up. How did you get to Reiki, basically?
How I got to Reiki. Long story short, I actually grew up in Wisconsin. I moved to Texas when I was about 10 years old. And my family started a business, apartment business here in southern Texas, the Rio Grande Valley. And my dad was having some issues, just a series of bad luck of things just happening in the workplace, workers getting hurt, just crazy things were happening, unexplainable things. And one of those workers was sort of attuned to the craft, so to speak. And he told them, "Well, after work, let's go home. Let's look and spiritually see what's going on in your life." And so he brought out this bowl of water and a candle, and he started looking at it, and he started seeing he saw some kind of like a witchcraft type of thing going on inside there. And I was 11 years old at the time when this was happening. I'm looking at it, and I'm seeing everything he's describing. I'm inside this bowl of water, and he's pointing out things that he's seeing. I'm actually seeing the same thing he's seeing. So that's where I discovered I had this little gift of clairvoyance. So throughout my teenage years, I started. I was the family psychic. They would ask me questions, and I would relay what I was being shown how to counter it, how to correct things, how to remove jinxes and curses and all that type of stuff. And my dad's business started to improve with what I was showing him to do, and then years later, we had a family dog, and that dog developed cancer. And I wanted to do everything I could to save the dog, and I knew the vets weren't really doing much for her. And so I discovered a book. It was called The Cure for All Diseases by Dr. Hulda Clark. And it was a holistic protocol where she teaches that all disease is caused by parasites and pollutants. And I also learned through that our pH level has a lot to do with inviting parasites and toxins into the body, and we always should have a 7.4 average pH level to maintain a good health. And so the parasite toxin detox that she recommended in the book, I started giving to the dog, but I saw some improvement. It was just too late, so the dog was just too far, or cancer had spread too far. But in between, a friend of mine had was into Reiki. She had started studying Reiki, and she invited me to a class that she brought a Reiki master from Houston down to Edinburg, where she was living, and I attended the class, and I was attuned to first degree Reiki through that master. And this Reiki master, her name was Frances Garza. She's from Houston, and she actually trained with one of the 22 original Reiki masters that Takata trained back in from Hawaii, and so I was my lineage is way up there at the top where I was originally taught Reiki, and so my friend that brought her down, she became a master, and so she started training me, and so I only had my first degree official certificate and whatnot, but she attuned me through Reiki Master level 3, and then years later I went to Houston. I was living in Houston for a year studying, and I bumped into I was stuck in traffic. What was going on? It would take me 2 hours to drive to work and 2 hours back every day back home. So my knee was giving me a lot of problems from all the stop and go and bumper to bumper traffic. So I went to go see her to just get my knee treated, and when I finally got to meet with her, she told me how Reiki had evolved, and there was more levels, more advanced teachings, and so I went into this apprenticeship with her, and I became a registered Karuna Reiki master while I was in Houston. So I brought that back to the Valley, and here in the Valley is very superstitious people. They believe in folklore, a lot of witchcraft, santeria, all that stuff, all mixed up. These two ladies come to me and they say, we've been cursed by a witch, and we heard that Reiki could take it off. And I had just finished my Karuna studies. I said, okay, I can help you. So I did one. I did one session to one. I did the second lady, and they felt great. And they told me straight out that they believed the curse was gone. So they left happy, and about 5 minutes after they left, all my energy just dropped. So I ended up getting really sick. I was sick for about 3 weeks. I could barely even drink water at the time. And then I remember I was sitting in bed and I just kind of blacked out, and I found myself somewhere else. I like I'm in this ocean water, and I see this beach with this little green hut on the side. So I start pulling myself up to that hut, and there's some people waiting inside, and I don't know who they're waiting for or what. And in walks this red robed monk, like a Tibetan style monk. And he's sitting down at like this desk sort of thing, and he just points to he grabs my left hand, and he just slaps it. And he explains to me that I'm not supposed to be healing with 2 hands, never to put my left hand on people. And then he just gives me my calling, my assignment of bringing bringing life to right hand path Reiki. And so after that experience, I wake up from this dream or vision, whatever you want to call it, and the illness is like instantly gone that I've been suffering with for 3 weeks. So I witnessed some kind of miracle that day, and so I jotted down everything I learned from that, and I of course wrote the Grandmaster Manual for Right Hand Path Reiki, and I started teaching that practice little by little, and it started out as a handful of students for years until I had the opportunity to join Udemy, and where I put a video course together, and that one went viral, and so now we have students in 70 countries right now. So it really exploded worldwide. And some of those students, including yourself, have been spreading right hand path Reiki across the globe, and it's been a blessing ever since.
Very good. So up to that point, you didn't know you were clairvoyant or anything like that. Up to the point that your father was getting the reading, the candle reading. Up to that point, you didn't know that you had gifts.
We started going to this little cult type of place here in South Texas. They're kind of nationwide, but they're kind of a low cult. They're called Fidencistas. And what they are, they're little groups of people that believe in it's called the Niño Fidencio. He was a folk saint in Mexico. His real name was Fidencio Constantino. And he grew up in this little town called Espinazo, Nuevo León, which is I'd say about an hour west of Monterrey, which is about a 4-hour drive from where I'm at here in Edinburg, Texas. And every year in about October and March, they celebrate his birth and death. He's entombed there in that town, and it's this huge spiritual festival where people mediums go, and they get his spirit, and they do curings for people. And I believe they only lived to be about 30 some years old, but he had a gift of healing. And so we were attending this medium type of cult group on a weekly basis, and through the medium handpicked me out of the group and told me I had this gift. I had no idea what the gift was or how to use it, and I'm only 11, 12 years old at the time. And so I just started studying on my own, and until I met my mentors along the way and later in life.
Very good. Now, so they basically had weekly development sessions. Is that what it was? More so?
It was more like it wasn't like a development session. The medium would do this ritual, and they'd invite the spirit in, and then it was like a switch. Their eyes would close, but they could still see, and they would do like curing blessings. Here they call them limpias in Spanish, where they'll take certain herbs, could be like mint, or there's this plant, it's a tree actually called a pitalito. I don't know exactly the English name of that, but it's a special tree that he would take branches off, and he would just basically cleanse people with the branches to remove all negative energies. And everybody in the group, they would just take turns. There could be like 30 people in the actual building, and everybody would take a turn, and they'd all get cleansed. And that was pretty much the sermon type of thing of meeting. It was like a group cleansing. Everybody would take part and get cleansed.
Oh, so it was kind of like a collective cleansing.
Right, yeah.
Okay. And now, how did you go about starting the actual right-hand path, and how did it get to being in the karate area?
I was okay. So right-hand path was right after that experience. I explained. I wrote the manual, which is I got a copy here. I'll just flash it here. That's the right-hand path Grandmaster manual, and that has the all levels of 1 to 9 in it. And what each level, there's attunements that take place, and an attunement in Reiki is a rite of passage. And it's interesting when you have an attunement, because when I teach Reiki, I notice I test people with a pendulum, and we use a pendulum to test the chakras, to see if each chakra is in balance or it's out of balance, it's blocked. And usually the student, without prior Reiki experience, the pendulum will not respond. And then once they've had their Reiki attunement, then the pendulum starts to work for them. It's a really neat phenomena that takes place there. So I started teaching low key, just from the house. I get a student here and there, and we we go through the whole process of. At first, I was just starting first teaching the first 3 degrees, and then eventually people wanted more, so we started teaching more advanced degrees.
Mm-hmm.
It really wasn't until the video course took off that's when it really started exploding.
Mm-hmm. And
to answer the question on the martial art part of it,
yeah.
Yeah, I studied variety of mixed martial arts throughout high school and college and all. And my last sensei was he was a 7th degree Kempo master. And when I was a 2nd degree, he told me in order to advance to the more advanced levels, you have to have something to contribute to the martial arts. And so I introduced him to my system of Reiki, and that's when he promoted me, and I was able to get my 5th degree black belt. On my official title is a Renshi 5th degree black belt in combat Kempo. So he made it official that my style of Reiki is a part of the healing side of martial arts, so it's an actual martial art.
Right. So this is basically the only Reiki modality that is accepted.
Right.
Right. Okay. That was wonderful. It's so wonderful how everything just interconnects. And
yeah, just one thing led to another, and it just like a piece of a puzzle just came all together. Yeah.
Right. So now you wrote some books, not just that one.
I wrote several books. I'm also a life coach. I actually just went through the executive coach training, so training the big guys. And what my self-improvement book is called Awaken the Dragon Within. This is a program that I use for my executive coaching.
Okay.
This is just a real simple system where I like to, I like to get to the point of things. I don't like people to waste time. I don't like to waste other people's time. I want to get right down. I want people to get results. That's the most important thing in coaching is we want to see results.
Right.
So
and executive coaching in particular, because they don't have the time to mess around. Their time is very precious. They even choose who they'll even speak to a lot of times. So they want to get right to it, and they only want people that they're going to get results from.
Right. And so through my life experience, I was able to come up with this. I have a background in construction, and I used to build homes for a national home builder right out of college. And they kind of when I was hired into that company, I was hired as assistant superintendent. They gave me about 16 homes that were already sheetrocked, and I just had to finish them. And so within 2 weeks, I finished all those 16 homes. And they moved me to their exclusive golf course community, where they had a huge project going on, and it was being run by a project manager. He kind of took me under his wing, and then he just let me loose. And to the point where I had over 50 homes, all different stages under construction. I remember one day I had 10 concrete foundations pouring at the same time in the morning. When it came to brick laying, I had like 200 bricklayers on the site. It was interesting. There's a lot of immigrants that are workers, and at lunch break you'd see a huge soccer match going on in the streets. And it was a really neat experience, but it was very challenging to handle that type of workload. And so that was before iPhones and all that stuff came out. So I remember going to Radio Shack. I don't even know if they still exist anymore. They had a PDA where little tiny electronic device where I was able to write down each one of my houses and make a code system of what I'd already ordered in, what needed to be done in each home. So I would walk through every home in the morning, and I'd have a checklist on that little device to I would really chunk everything together. So every home that needed something to do with plumbing, I would get back. I'd walk every home at 7:30 in the morning, and by 9 o'clock I'd go to the office, and I'd make one phone call to each trade person, and I'd give them every order that for every house that needed that tradesman out there, and it just started moving like clockwork. And so I put that system in that book, Awaken the Dragon Within, and it's just to take challenges by the horns basically, and don't be overwhelmed by obstacles that are thrown at you. If you look at things if you let them overwhelm you, and things can become chaotic real quick if you don't put some kind of control or put some kind of system in place. And so what Awaken the Dragon Within does, it teaches you how to build a system for yourself, and no matter what field you're in, whether it's construction or any type of business you're running, or just even your daily work life, you want to put a system in place to where you can easily manage your life and reduce stress in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And the key thing is results. Getting those results.
Mm-hmm. And so those are 2 books. What other book? I know there's more.
Okay, so when the video course of Right Hand Path Reiki came out, I had a lot of requests for people to become 10th degree masters. Mm-hmm. And so everybody that gone through the course, they come out as a 9th degree Reiki Grandmaster. And so about 4 years after that, I started putting things together, and I came up with a form of sort of like a spiritual approach of the law of attraction and manifesting. Mm-hmm. And I came up with it's called the Sensei Joe's Law of Attraction Workbook. And so what this is, it goes with the video course or with the live training, and you fill in the blanks to there's certain formulas to help manifest your desires. Mm-hmm. And so when it kind of takes the guesswork out of the law of attraction, so to speak, and adds a little extra oomph, I like to call it, to make things happen, make things manifest in your life.
Good. And of course, I've read that book, and I am a 10th degree, so I'm good. And so, what other types of courses, or what exactly is it that you teach?
I basically teach in the 10th degree. I call it the Magus course, and so you're learning a little bit of practical magic, how to do protection rituals for yourself, mm-hmm. how to do attraction rituals for yourself, how to rid yourself of obstacles that are in your way. Mm-hmm. So I teach this little bit of folklore, spirituality, magic, if you want to call it. It's a step beyond any type of visualization exercises that are out there for law of attraction. I call it's more practical law of attraction, I like to call it. So.
Mm-hmm. So basically, you have found a way to combine different things into also with Reiki to be a Reiki practitioner all around, not just to provide the energy for healing, but also for yourself and your environment, and to take it to the next step, right?
Right. It's a path towards enlightenment form, so to speak, mm-hmm. to where you're a walking spiritual being, of being able to see things people can't see, experiencing things that others can't experience. You're awakening energy centers within you, within your body, within your spirit, that would normally be awakened. Mm-hmm. And that is the power of chi or ki, where when you awaken your energy centers, especially the third eye, I mean, you start living the world in a whole new life.
Mm-hmm.
Is it fair to say that it's a type of shamanism?
In a way, yeah, it is. Yeah. We in martial arts, we have an energy center called the Daitian, which is about 2 inches below the belly button. The Dantian is located, and I teach in the beginning levels of Reiki how to focus and draw energy from the Dantian.
Mm-hmm.
And in traditional Reiki, they teach to draw from the universe, from up on top, to bring it into the crown chakra. And in my style, I teach it how to bring into the Dantian. And when you start experiencing, you'll see automatically you start bringing in from the Dantian and also through the crown automatically without any effort. And it's when you're able to combine your personal energy along with the universal energy, you'll see how the Reiki sessions are much more effective or more potent.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all about results. It's about getting the results. So.
Right. And, the same way as all the other Reiki modalities, the person comes in and they may say, oh, I have knee pain, but really it begins in their back or it begins someplace else. And they just have a knee pain because they're overcompensating or their knee is taking the full weight of it. And I have found that it works the same way as the regular or the Usui Reiki, where it takes it in a different level, a whole different other spiritual level.
Because we focus mostly on the 7 main chakras.
Right.
So when we start the session in Reiki, in traditional Reiki, there's several hand positions where you do basically the entire body.
Right.
And with right hand path, you don't have to do the entire body because the chi, the energy, has its own divine intelligence, I like to call it, and it knows where problem areas are. So when you balance each 7 of the chakras, if you have a knee pain or for some unexplainable reason, that energy will land at that spot, at that weak spot. And I've had just numerous cases where people had a pain somewhere on a location of their bodies where I never put my hand, and it's gone after a Reiki session. That's just the energy at work.
Right.
And I've had some extreme cases. I remember one. A husband had contacted me about his wife being possessed by some evil spirits, and that she was just not herself. She would be talking about some really strange, bizarre things, and her sisters brought her to me, and she was just unresponsive, just like a walking vegetable, so to speak. And when I performed the session on her, all of a sudden afterwards, she started talking to me, and she said that she felt this like weight and dark shadow just lift out of her, and then she was just normal after that. It was whatever was in her was gone.
Well,
and we use a very powerful ancient Kabbalah prayer. It's called the Anubakor. That prayer was taught to me when I started studying Kabbalah years ago. That prayer is just, there's books about it, and there was even one book called The Miracle Prayer. And in my experience, it has performed many miracles in my life and in others. And I always use that prayer for every Reiki session. Just more of a safety measure, and it's just to bring in divine energy. So I want everybody to experience a divine experience when they have Reiki session with me.
And that's what it's about, right? It's about getting to the healing that they need, not the healing that they think they need.
Yeah. And Reiki, you're taught to put your ego aside.
Right.
so you have a clear, open mind to allow the energy to come in. There's an old demonstration that Bruce Lee used, where he had, when he was teaching students, he would have a glass of water and a glass of Coke, and this is it's your knowledge and his knowledge. So you want to release your knowledge and let the new knowledge come into your life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what we're doing when we're performing Reiki session. Is we put our ego aside and let the energy do its job.
Right. Exactly.
We channel it. You know.
It's not us, right? We're just the conduit. We're just the channel.
We can direct the flow of it, but we want to let the universe do its job.
Right. So when did you make it official for the right hand path?
Right hand path became official, I believe, in 2014. It was 2014 when that became official. Okay. And the video class came out, I think it was 2018. Mm-hmm. And so now I don't know, there's thousands of members now and graduated the program, and like I said, 70 different countries.
Which is fantastic. It's something very special that, to be able to have channeled something like that, to have been given basically the direction to start that and get it going, and now you wade right through it and you stuck to it, and now you have it all over the place. Now, what do you see, or do you see anything further than that in the future?
Further than that, with my coaching experience, I have like there's over 30 different coaching modalities that I've been certified in. Mm-hmm. I'd like to further the awakening